Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Show. You're listening to the first and only podcast dedicated to the business of pharmacy. You can find all of our episodes at pharmacypodcast.com.
Hey Violators, it's Michael Coldrew, the writer and producer of VIALS, and you're listening to me on the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network. I am so excited about today's show and guest. Pharmacists, pharmacy techs, pharmacy professionals, we have been waiting for this to happen forever, and it's finally here. VIALS, this is brilliant. This is based on comedy content that could last for years and years and years, based on patients and PBMs and payers and wholesalers and just the intricacies of pharmacy and the complexity that probably a lot of people don't realize. I want to welcome the co-director, the director and writer of the VIALS comedy coming out, Chris and Mike. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is great.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, wow, I tell you what, I've been in pharmacy since 2004. I'm a technologist. I'm not a pharmacist. I support pharmacy. I always say I'm pharmacy's number one fan. And we seriously have been waiting for a comedy based on the pharmacy marketplace and what they go through in community pharmacy. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Tell me how this all came about. And is your background pharmacy? And do you have pharmacist relatives? And why did you want to create VIALS?
Well, this has been an idea in my head probably for the last 15 years. And it started back in the 90s and early 2000s. I am not a pharmacist. However, I worked in the pharmacy community for about a decade. I was a pharmacy technician at a major retail chain, and I also did a stint over in a small independent store. Actually, it wasn't that small. They had a few stores across New York, but they were relatively small. So I got to experience both the retail aspect of pharmacy and the small mom and pop shop, through the eyes of a technician for many years.
Chris, what about you? What's your background? Why are you getting involved in VIALS? And do you have any pharmacy background?
I have absolutely zero pharmacy background, actually. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a writer, and I've spent a lot of time in restaurants. I created a show earlier on with my partner, Alex Ayala, that kind of looks at the behind the scenes of restaurant world and kind of delves into that space. And Mike really liked our show. Mike wrote a hilarious script that would speak to, I would imagine, anybody. You don't even really have to have the context of, being in the business to understand how funny it is. And he just had a really clever take on it. And from there, we started developing the pilot with him.
When I saw Sherry O'Terry on the SNL Saturday Night Live, and she does that character where she carries in that bag of vials or containers, and she dumps it onto the table, and she starts, of course, her rant and stuff. That's like really, and I think that came out years ago, but that was like when I said, boy, if this could be an ongoing thing that would be all about in the setting of community pharmacy and what they go through. And there's just a huge following for VIALS already. The National Pharmacist Technician Association, I think it's called the NPTA, National Pharmacy Technician Association, is huge on this. And their executive is Mike Johnston, and he has one of the largest Facebook followings. So we're going to have to make sure that he constantly reposts the upcoming episodes. And the trailer just came out, which was just hilarious. I'm just so excited. It got me even more excited. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that pharmacy and pharmacists are in a different universe than the rest of workers out there in America? What's special about pharmacy, and what do you think the backdrop of pharmacy is going to do for a comedy show?
Well, I mean, look, here's the first thing that I want to say. Like I said, I've had this idea in my head for so many years, and year after year, I would wake up in the morning, I'd go on the internet, and I'd say, all right, let me see if the pharmacy show was created yet. it's never it was never created. So then, and this would happen. This happened for a better part of a decade, and I hadn't even started writing yet. So every day, then I started writing. So then as I was writing, I would say, all right, any day now, because I started writing, the pharmacy show is going to be premiering this fall on NBC or Netflix, or someone's going to pick it up, and then I'm going to be annoyed that I didn't do it. And then lo and behold, I mean, I was just so shocked that I was able to procrastinate for as long as I did, and finally, get it done. The pharmacy industry, I always found it so fascinating. It was I never went into the field. I just don't have the scientific side of the brain really working for me. So it was never, my destiny to be a pharmacist. But my time as a technician was everything was always so funny and fast paced. And it was a great job growing up, compared to just flipping burgers or, working in a movie theater. I felt like I was learning something as I was going along. But one of the reasons why I reached out to Chris and Alex was because, I really enjoyed their work with Server Life, which is another customer service industry. So I felt like it made sense to have somebody with that type of background, to be the director of VIALS, because they're very similar. I think that this type of show, is relatable for anybody that's involved in customer service industry, dealing with the public on a daily basis in that type of a retail setting or a restaurant setting, because at the end of the day, all the people that come in, customer, patient, or, a person who wants their, dinner to be served to them, it's all the same, themes, being impatient, being rude, so, they all overlap with one another. So that's why I think, it made sense to go with the creators of Server Life for this project.
Yeah, that common denominator of, things that happen in the customer service industry is really crucial. And I think that's why it does offer this sort of level of relatability. But the cool thing about it was really fun to explore this world, because Alex and I really don't have any kind of clue about working in pharmacy or what that industry is like. But as we've worked on this pilot, we've learned a lot more. And the cool thing about the pharmacy as a setting is that the stakes are higher. You could, potentially harm someone if you serve them food that they're allergic to, for instance. But giving somebody, when you're dealing with medicine that is, potentially life-saving or life-threatening, the stakes are automatically so much higher. So I see that as kind of an interesting aspect to the whole world that we're working with.
What's interesting in the sector of public touch in healthcare, the pharmacist is seeing patients 10 times more than the physician, based on the reciprocation of drug adherence and follow-up, and what a pharmacist actually executes when a therapy is governed by that physician. And the most trusted healthcare professional from many different surveys that's being done is the nurse, and then the pharmacist ranks second. And then, of course, other professionals underneath that. I don't know where film director comes in, Chris, but nonetheless, the pharmacist is so intricate and so important to healthcare. And I don't think people realize, with just seeing the community pharmacist, how there's specialty pharmacists, there's consultant pharmacists that do nothing but take care of seniors, and there's health system pharmacists that do nothing but work in that hospital setting, and there's compounders, and there's so many facets of pharmacy. But I think that VIALS, more than just being a comedy, and this is another reason I'm so excited, and I'm already a fan and haven't even seen one episode other than the trailer. Nonetheless, what this is going to do is it's going to be funny, but it's also going to expose the public to what happens in a pharmacy, even though it'll be funny and it'll be kind of tongue-in-cheek, because there's lots of things that happen in a pharmacy that I don't think people have any idea of. Why does my prescription take an hour to fill when I think all you should do is take the pill from one bottle and stick it in another bottle? And they're like, well, we're doing drug-drug interactions and drug-food interactions and allergies, and we're checking this, and the PBM payers involved, and all of this stuff that's happening in the background that patient and that consumer has no idea about. So just the exposure of pharmacy in itself, I think, is going to be huge, and it's going to be definitely embraced by pharmacists and pharmacy techs out there.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that I agree with you, Todd, that I think that, there are so many, layers, in the pharmacy that people just don't quite understand. We have it set up as a 30-minute, sitcom show. I know a lot of people are going to watch the first episode and they're going to be like, oh, well, they didn't discuss this and they didn't discuss that. So that was my main concern. Like, I'm always afraid, people are going to like, oh, well, they didn't do this, didn't do that. We have, I have in my head about 5 seasons worth of material already. And I really hate shows that like also like overdo it and they put in too much filler. So we're not shooting to do like 12 episode, runs or, 24 episode like network. We're looking at like, 5 to 6 episode seasons, just to keep it really concise and funny. We don't want it to lose its luster, too quickly. And by putting in too much stuff, all more material in there, and some people would have been happy in the beginning, but I think it would have probably, started to lose interest if we did it too much at once. But, everyone should just keep in mind that we're aware of all the, little intricacies and crazy things that happen in the pharmacy from the perspective of the tech and the pharmacist and the intern. And, we will get to everything eventually. So, just be patient and enjoy the laughs that are, particular to each episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. There's 300,000 active pharmacists just in the United States, and that not even encompassing the metrics that are in Canada and in the UK and Australia or any other part of the world. And within the United States also, there's 1.some million technicians that are out there. So I think just the pure fan base, even beyond what you're going to get from fans just from the public, is going to be a pretty nice sized fan base. So that I'm excited. What can you guys do? What call to action do you want to kind of tell us about Twitter followership, your Facebook? Just tell us, and I'll make sure I put it in the show notes, places that pharmacists and pharmacy techs, and even if someone's listening to the show that's just a patient themselves, where can they go to get more information on VIALS?
We have, my main focal point for marketing of the show has been Facebook, and you could do just a simple search in Facebook for VIALS TV. We also have an Instagram account at VIALS TV and a Twitter handle at VIALS TV. It's pretty much, any social media platform at VIALS TV is what we have going, and that's how you can find us. You can also type in VIALS TV, VIALS Amazon, VIALS anything on Google, and it comes up as a suggested search already. So I know that people are definitely looking for it, which is pretty cool. I love that. So that's the multitude of ways that you can find out about VIALS, and get out there and give us your support.
Yeah, that's it's a very lively group on the VIALS Facebook page. You've been doing those meme contests recently that have really it's really engaged a lot of people, and they've been able to kind of share their experiences in the form of memes. And, quite frankly, like, I think there was one that won like a meme contest recently, and whoever won that gets I think you said that they get their name in the credits or something like that.
Yeah. We were originally giving out, signed pharmacy bags by the cast, but this time around I wanted to give that, the fans have been so awesome. I wanted to give them a little something extra. So I did a meme contest where, the winner's meme would be, come to life in script form in an episode. And, we'll put their name in the credits as a contributor for the show. We're going to have more contests like that going forward. We like to get people involved. I think it's fun. Some people are so stuffy about, getting fans involved, but I want this show to be, really about the fans, and I want them to participate and make it, their own show. Since it took so long for it to come out, I mean, and everyone is so excited about it, they deserve some recognition that themselves.
Definitely.
Well, Chris, Mike, we are excited. You have fans in the Pharmacy Podcast Network. We're going to push out as much as you send us, and we'll of course sniff through the Twitter sphere and the Instagram and the the world of Facebook, which is huge in marketing, and we'll definitely support you. And I thank you guys so much for taking time to. I know how busy you are, just coming on to share the story of VIALS on the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Thanks for having us. We'd love to come back.
Yeah, Todd, thank you very much. We had a great time. Thank you.
You're definitely welcome back. Please subscribe. Take a look, VIALS TV. Search that term, VIALS TV, on Google, and we thank you for listening to the Pharmacy Podcast.